Hey everybody, Eric Pate here, back with another video. So today's video is going to be about uh, Super Bowl MVPs of who I think should have won the MVP of the Super Bowls. From all the ones I have watched live all the way through, starting with Super Bowl 49, all the way through the latest Super Bowl, Super Bowl 56. Here's the thing though, I'm going to be taking out that player out of the equation. I'm taking the player who actually won the MVP out of the equation completely. Uh, there was one Super Bowl in there that I do agree with the MVP on, 100%, and it was 54. Well, 55 as well, but like I said, we're going to take that player out of the equation completely. The reason why I'm making this video is before 3 days from now is when we're going to have the 59th Super Bowl MVP award, because one Super Bowl did have two MVPs, but we're not going to talk about that one because we're only going to be talking about the ones I have watched all the way through, from 49 all the way to 56. We're going to start off with 49. Now, I'm only making these based off of but opinion only too. Best play of each game. So with 49, we had the goal line interception by Malcolm Butler. He should have gotten the MVP of the Super Bowl. That was an insane play, and that's like, it should have been Malcolm Butler, not Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady was the MVP of that Super Bowl. Again, I'm taking him out of the equation completely. He's actually going to be taken out of the equation also for the one Super Bowl we're going to talk about where he did not win the MVP, but we're still going to take him out of the equation since he was in here 3 times. I really think Malcolm Butler should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 49 because of the goal line, specifically because of goal line interception. Super Bowl 50. Now, this is another Super Bowl, actually. There's actually 3 Super Bowls on this list actually agreed with the MVP. Von Miller had a really great game and everything. And he did win the MVP of the Super Bowl. But I just think it would have made a greater story if Peyton Manning, who was playing his very last game ever, Peyton Manning was playing his very last game he will ever play, which was Super Bowl 50, and I just think it would have made a great story seeing him being the MVP of Super Bowl 50. Sure, Von Miller probably had a more greater game than him, but I just think it would have made a greater story seeing Peyton Manning in his last game being the MVP of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 51, we have another Tom Brady MVP. But I think it should have gone to... Now, the one we're going to talk about later, 53, the guy who was actually the MVP of 53, I think should have been the MVP of 51 as well. Same time, I think James White would have been the great MVP of Super Bowl 51. Now, Julian Edelman, who was the MVP of Super Bowl 53. When we talk about Super Bowl 53 here in a few moments, we're taking Edelman out of the equation for 53, but we're going to keep him in the equation for 51. I think it would have. I think he would have. He should have gotten it. There's 2 people actually for 51 that should have gotten it. Edelman should have gotten it. I really think Julian Edelman should have gotten it. Julian Edelman is one hell of a quarterback. Not quarterback, wide receiver. He made a pretty insane catch in that Super Bowl in the 4th quarter as the Patriots were coming back from a 25-point deficit. So I think it would have made a great story that I was seeing Julian Edelman being the MVP after making a pretty insane catch. At the same time, the guy who made the game-winning touchdown, that should have gotten him the MVP. I think that play was pretty insane as well. Seeing the fact that we weren't sure if the ball was in or not until they said that the ball was in, because technically, if the knee hits the ground, any part of the ball is across that line. To my understanding, any part of the ball that is crossed that line, it's deemed a touchdown. So that's why I think James White should have been the MVP. Okay, my next 52. I think it should have gone to Zach Ertz. So Zach Ertz, let me go ahead and tell you the play I'm talking about. With about a minute left in Super Bowl 52, or were they coming upon the 2-minute warning? I'm not sure. They were either coming on a minute left or coming on the 2-minute warning. Zach Ertz was throwing the football. In the process, he leaned over into the end zone, lost possession of the ball, then managed to catch it before the ball hit the ground. I'm still questioning to this day. I'm still thinking to this day, as a Patriots fan, of course, was that actually a clear touchdown? I'm still questioning that. And I know it's been 5 years since that happened, and was the game-winning touchdown in that Super Bowl for the Eagles. But Nick Foles, I do agree. I thought my cat was out there, so I do have a cat. Anyway, Nick Foles, who was the MVP, he did get it, but I think Zach Ertz was more deserving. And Zach Ertz should have been the very first tight end to be the MVP of that Super Bowl. Let's go on now to Super Bowl 53. This time we're taking Julian Edelman out of the equation. And we're also taking out Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady wasn't the MVP. But he was going to be on this list 3 times anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and take him out of the equation completely this time. And we're also taking out Julian Edelman this time, even though I did say Julian Edelman should have been the MVP of 51, but 53, we're going to take him out completely since he was the MVP of that Super Bowl. Sony Michel should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 53. Mainly because he made the only game-winning touchdown. And it was also a pretty good game on defense, so anybody player on defense should have gotten it as well. So, because it was a really great game on defense. If you look at the final score, only 1 touchdown. If you look at the scoring breakdown of Super Bowl 53, only 1 touchdown. Only 1 touchdown was scored that whole game. And it was scored by the Patriots, who ended up winning it. Super Bowl 54, I don't really know who I think should have been the MVP. But we're taking out Patrick Mahomes completely. Screw it. Travis Kelce. That's the only other player I know on the Chiefs. So, I'm sorry for Chiefs fans, but that's the only other player I know on the Chiefs. Besides Patrick Mahomes. Or, no, Tyreek Hill. He also had a great game, too. I forgot Tyreek Hill was on the Chiefs at the time. He's now, I think, with the Dolphins. So, I really think Tyreek Hill should have gotten the MVP. Or Travis Kelce should have gotten the MVP. Super Bowl 55. Again, taking out Tom Brady completely out of the equation. But I think we should go ahead and say the real MVP of that game, of 55, was either Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski. They both had really great games. Honestly, I think Gronk did more plays that I enjoyed than Antonio Brown. I'm not a big Antonio Brown fan, too, so I'm being a little bit biased towards Rob Gronkowski because I'm actually a fan of Gronk. So I do think Rob Gronkowski should have been that game's most valuable player. 56. A lot more people wanted Aaron Donald. Even I did. Instead of Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp had a really great game in that game, but I still think Cooper Kupp did a lot more than the same things. But Aaron Donald is more of a fan favorite than Cooper Kupp. So I actually voted for Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald should have gotten it. So that's who I think should be the MVP. Let me tell you, now I'm going to go ahead and cast my vote for MVP for each of the 2 teams playing on Sunday. Now there's only one player on the Eagles, and I know not Jalen Hurts. That's why I'm going for him. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell you my pick for the Chiefs. So MVP for the Super Bowl 57, I'm going with Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. And the Kansas City Chiefs, it's good. I think Travis Kelce is going to become the first tight end to win the Super Bowl MVP. That's who I think is going to. So those are my predictions. That is those are my true MVPs who I think should have been the MVPs from 49 to 56. And then I just told you my 57 pick for each team. Let me know what your pick is to win the MVP of Super Bowl 57. Pick one player. Please pick one player from the Eagles, and please pick one player from the Chiefs, just because the game has not happened yet. Like I said, I'm favorite, but nice, go be awesome. You're paying on 8. See you later.